Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question to the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It's Coffee Ann on ONAM at FM. Thanks for joining us this morning on Wednesday, April 10th. I'm Joe Callahan. We'll go around the Coffee Ann table. We'll say good morning to John Ward. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning. This is going to be a great day. I have a dentist's appointment.
Woo-hoo. I have a dermatologist appointment right after.
Oh my God.
What about you, Melissa?
You got anything going, Melissa?
Everyone just
But he's-
missed the
but he's-
conversation
he's a
before
great-
we jumped on the
He's
air,
a-
and I
he's a
just
great
feel
dent-
like it's so
He's a
suiting
great
for you.
dentist.
Well, good.
Do we know a great dentist?
I don't know if you're asking me to go with you. Like, I feel
No,
like
no,
based
no.
on the
I'll be
conversation we
fine.
had
I'll be
earlier,
fine.
you're
If you
going to
had
be
your
okay.
own
It's just-
doctor appointment
just
today, too.
make sure I
Oh,
don't
no,
have any-
no,
okay.
no,
Well, neither do
no.
I, so,
I didn't know
okay.
if Tim was going to need help with the dermatologist, with
Maybe interpreting the results. I'm going to send
Interpreting
them
the
to you when I'm done.
That's Melissa Murray over there.
Miss
That's
Murray.
Melissa Smith over there. Hi, Melissa.
And then after
You know-
that, I'm going to be following Joe to his
All right,
neurological
really.
assessment.
Senator.
And Tim Draper's over there. Hi, Tim.
I am.
I
Hello.
always knew I was meant for politics.
So-
I just,
We'll get into politics in just a bit. But Melissa, time for first message.
Oh, baby, we'll
From the
wait.
St. Antoine communities, please.
So, I'm going to be off script again. I, just wanted to take a little bit of time this morning and talk about our brand new level of care that is going to be opening up at St. Antoine Community. Still looking like June. So I feel firm.
Sure.
I feel like I can firmly say it is looking like June. But yeah, so we're going to be opening up a brand new memory care assisted living unit on the property of St. Antoine residents. It's going to be called Primrose Lane. We're very excited about it. It's going to be addressing a huge need in northern Rhode Island that is not there right now, to be able to provide affordable assisted living memory care. And allow folks to spend down and qualify for Medicaid waiver. As many of you know, Alzheimer's care and memory impairment can cause a lot of financial burden for families. So to be able to provide them emotional support and medical support as well as financial support, we're really excited to meet that need. So if you need information about this unit and want to jump on our wait list, because there is an official wait list at this point, which is exciting for us, but also, again, echoes the demand that's out there. You can reach me at 401-767-3500 or email me at msmith@santantoine.net.
Not M. Murray, right?
Not M. Murray, it's MSMITH. No E.
Gotcha.
That would be Smythe.
That's got to be a TV show. What a great title for a TV show. Get a bunch of actresses together and just do the TV show. It's called Primrose Lane.
Wouldn't that be
I
cute?
think
Like
they
a
called
spin-off
something
Golden
called
Girls.
the Wisteria Lane.
Well, that's
what
exactly
they-
right.
Yeah.
Do it in a facility
I
like
could
that.
write a book.
And
We
have
say
all
that
these,
on a regular
have all
basis.
these stories and interactions among all the residents there and visitors coming in and
A
all
new
that
reality
stuff.
show.
It's a new.
We have thought about
No,
that.
it's a
No,
sitcom. It's a
pure
sitcom.
fiction. Pure fiction. Like some of those goofy Netflix series that
Yeah,
people
with
get
little
addicted to.
seniorisms and.
But it's a
Yeah.
perfect title.
Primrose
And you
Lane. It is.
just
a-
gotta
Yeah,
line
you
up
heard it
all
here,
the right
um,
actresses and the right doctors and the right nurses
Yeah.
and all the characters to fill in and the
we own
visitors and the cousins and the uncles.
We own the
Coming in to
copyright for
visit?
that.
Yeah,
just in
we
case
do.
anybody knows.
So, well, I was
Airing
just
June
noticing-
2025.
I
Give me
was
1
just-
year to put
I
it
was
in the
just
works.
noticing there's the words, the continuum of care. And I don't see the little R with the circle around it as a
You should
registered
totally
trademark.
totally
I have to tell you,
Trademark that.
when I put this flyer together, I said to myself, how do I not put Continuum of Care somewhere on this
You can't.
flyer
You
for
have
my
to.
friends at
See,
the
I
radio
would
show?
I would be
But
looking at it and
it-
saying, how can I put continuing care somewhere on this?
It's everywhere. We're gonna have T-shirts made
Gotta
in
fit it
everything.
in.
You should, oh, that'd be great.
We will be.
Get the
No,
continuum
really.
of care.
it's a
really
great it's a
are.
great phrase.
It
really
is a great phrase.
Thank you.
But it really deserves a little R
a
with
little
a circle
R.
around it
I'm
as a
not
registered
sure I'm the
trademark.
first person who ever came up with Continuum of Care, but
No, but
I
you
really
need to be
appreciate your
the
compliment.
first person to trademark it.
Trademark.
Right.
That's
That's
true.
all that matters.
That's right.
And then
I'll add that to
then
my
everybody
list.
else can't use it unless they get your permission.
Yeah,
And
putting it on my
Taysom
calendar.
Scott-Old.
I'll
2
address
cents
that
every time somebody
right
uses the
away
word.
when I get back to
Okay,
the
dollar.
office. Absolutely.
All right. So, Senator Roger
It
Pickard
takes care of all the important stuff.
announced he will not seek re-election in the fall.
sad.
He was here on Coffee Ann about 2 weeks ago. We asked him if he was running for re-election. He goes, "I'll let you know in 2 weeks."
Yeah, he did say. I
Oh,
remember
well,
that.
okay.
Yep.
And the answer is no.
No.
So, wow.
So he's
Okay.
finally flipped the switch.
Yep.
And very
Well, it's been
very
30 years,
seriously
so-
and honestly, he's been there since '92 in the
Yeah.
General Assembly. either the rep or as a senator, and we all owe him a great deal of gratitude for his service to the city and to the state. He's done a great job, and I'm glad for him that he can leave the Senate in good standing and have served, what's this, a lot of years.
Yeah,
A lot
it's
of
a lot of
years.
years.
I'm not even going to try to do the math. It's much too complicated.
First elected in 92.
1992, right.
So my son was
As a
born,
state
let's see, in
rep.
93, and he's 30, so let's
So
make
he,
it
no,
29.
he's 30. Yeah, he's,
So it's
he's
roughly
been
30
around.
years.
Been around a while.
So,
So
yeah, so congratulations,
we thank him
Roger.
for his service to the city and state, as I said, and
So-
wish him well.
So Tim has got some good friends out there because someone's already tabbed him and say, Tim, you should run.
For
But,
Roger's seat.
they were being serious, right?
Oh,
Tim?
they were being dead serious.
Yes,
Okay,
you're
well,
you're
yeah.
in his district.
I am. I'm in the tail end in Cumberland.
Tail end of it.
So,
Okay.
someone thinks at least one person
Yeah,
pretty
there's-
highly
there's a
of
couple
you.
people out
And
there that are
I
great.
didn't hear all the names mentioned, but are there names mentioned in any articles yet about
Not
him
yet.
saying about running?
Not just yet.
Okay.
So
My name
we'll
will
see.
not be in the article. Just
Okay.
saying, but
But someone did ask you, but you're
Oh,
like,
I'm
no,
sure
it's not for you,
I'm sure
right?
there'll be names coming out of Cumberland, and there'll be.
if there was any
Yeah.
position that I would prefer to run for, it would be Senate more than a representative. I think.
Well,
What's-
just
why?
Fewer people
Okay.
in the Senate. I think there's Senate's a little more deliberative of a body. I think. Mm-hmm. And I've always admired Roger for what he's done. He's always managed to get things done. It was never about him.
There's
It was
there's
never a story.
scandal.
There's never a scandal. He's always worked hard. He's always worked for
Yep.
the president of the Senate, and it's not look at me, look at me, look at me, look at the glory.
no.
and,
right,
great,
Roger served in a way that could only be characterized as humble,
right,
Yeah.
100%. Yep,
all the way back to his days at McDonald's.
he was my manager.
Was he humble then?
he was. He was great.
All right.
We had a lot of
Hey,
fun.
what?
He was humble as a manager.
You
at
worked there
McDonald's.
too, or
You worked
I
under
worked
Roger.
under Roger.
you did?
I did.
I trained Roger.
Did you?
First day on the job.
Well,
at
then his
McDonald's.
skills were honed well because he was a great manager.
All I ever taught him how to do was toast the buns in the bun toasters.
Well, someone has to tell him.
No, that's first day on the job. That's
Yeah,
what he
you
did.
got to learn that.
I was cooking the hamburgers. He was
What
toasting
a
the buns.
skill set. Is that still on your resume? I'm just wondering.
You know what that skill set was?
Toaster.
It was called
No.
following orders.
No,
That was what the skill
I-
set was that you
I
learned.
did everything at McDonald's. I work in the day when, I think I've told the story where the last day of training, first day they were going to open the next morning, and we were doing a thing for the families of the first day employees, and I was up in Milford finishing my training, and I went to get the water out of the bottom of the fryolator, and moved the stick, and it stuck, and then it let go, and it splashed my arms with 375 degree oil. I ended up at Milford Hospital. I leave Milford Hospital a little early afternoon. I head down to Woonsocket
go
to
back
tell
to
the
work?
manager I got bandages up both arms, and the only thing he thought to say was,
You can run the register.
I think we've got a long sleeve shirt in the back. And I literally, no, I didn't run the register.
Oh.
It was, we weren't
You
open.
went right back in?
I was cooking the burgers that night.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, see?
And,
you pushing
and I had a
through.
long sleeve shirt, and then the next morning, I was at work.
There you go. See, that's what happens.
That's
Today's
Those are the old
generation
days.
wouldn't do that.
Just
That's right.
how- that's just
They'd
how
need a
you did
month
it.
They'd
off.
be out on
Well,
medical
I mean,
leave for the next 6 months.
My mobility was there. There was no bleeding involved. It was just
Yeah.
blisters and skin and some pain at first, but
That'll go away.
it went away.
Eventually.
Yeah, that was just the way you did things. And I remember another time where we had shift after shift. I went in on a Friday morning, and shift after shift, people were calling in sick. Key people were calling in sick. And I ended up staying the evening shift, the dinner shift, and then I ended up closing because it was there. And it was an end of the month. We had to do the inventory. And so I did the inventory, and the next morning I had to be there to set up. So I was still there literally
Wow.
through the night.
Wow.
Worked the next morning. Somebody called in again sick that was important. I ended up covering. So I worked from Friday morning until Sunday at 6,
I hope you get some overtime for that.
nonstop. No,
Wow.
you didn't get overtime for that stuff because I was a swing manager.
You were a
Which
manager.
made me a
You
salaried
were
employee.
salaried, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I
There you
didn't get
go.
overtime, and I ended
how
up
they got
working
you.
from Friday morning until Sunday night, and it was appreciated, but it was like, yeah, that's just the way things work.
So what you did.
Did you find that back in the day that McDonald's, because I worked at Burger King, was a sexist organization? And the reason I say that is because the guys took out the trash, and the guys mopped the floor, but the women wash the dishes.
Now that you think about, no, we did dishes
No.
too.
It
but
was
what
so
interesting is
right down the line.
People I worked with, everybody did everything.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it was
Even the-
I mean,
who
except
did-
for
who
the
did
obvious,
what.
truck, the
except for
overnight
obvious
truck.
weight differences.
the overnight truck. We never had any of the
Although
ladies coming
working
up.
for McDonald's, I did discover how chlorine gas is made because I was mopping a floor and I had a problem. It was nobody was there. I'm mopping the floor and it had ammonia in the cleaning material in it, and there was a spot, and I said it's not coming off. So I took a little bleach and I dropped it on the floor cleaner, and of course, all of a sudden it's like, what's going on here? Okay, man, out the back door, open the door. It's like, oh yeah, that's chlorine gas.
Bleach, little ammonia.
I almost
Every time.
almost killed myself.
Big life lesson there.
Right. Well, moving away from fast food.
It's those science lessons that you don't get the
Bill
hands-on
Nye, the
experience
science
in chemistry class.
That's right.
So-
So the headline, John, was Woonsocket calls on Alan Funk to assist in financial matters. So, whose call was
Let's
this?
just sit back.
Camera off me. I just noticed. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Woo!
Not mine.
Okay, was it the city council,
I
though?
think it was a conversation probably between the mayor and Mike Lepizera and Alan Fung.
Okay.
Alan was the mayor of Cranston for many years, obviously, and he's worked with the finances there. So a lot of what needs to get done is just organizing the work and getting it done and putting it to the auditors to do their work. Otherwise, if it was North Smithfield or Cumberland, I could get employed to go in there and do it with them.
But you
But
can't
as a council
because-
member, I can't.
Conflict of interest, right?
Right. So I would otherwise.
Yeah.
And I had somebody that worked for me in Lincoln that I contacted about coming in to help. And unfortunately for the city, probably the most highly qualified person to do this became a new grandmother and said, nope, not going to do it.
All
My
right.
first grandchild. That's the end of that. My after retirement career is over. So she wasn't available, and they had a list from the state auditor general of about 5 names of retirees and others that were available. I don't know why none of them became available, but Alan is somebody that has enough experience somewhat in financial matters of the city and dealing with audits. So he was asked to help out. Now he's an associate with Mike Lepizera's firm, and so he's not an added cost to the city. That is part of the contract services that
the
they're
law firm.
providing as part of the monthly allotment that goes to Lepizera's firm. And it's interesting because sometimes you don't know the background of people until you have a chance to interact with them enough. But that Michael Lepizera has a degree in finance, so he understands some of the things that are going on. And so I think it's a way. And of course, we have a new finance director who worked in state service, not in municipal service, and there's some differences there. So they'll get it done.
It's important though that it's not.
Let me characterize it like I'm a true candidate.
All right.
Well, they'll get it done, and when I get in there, we'll get it done.
All right.
And we'll get it done faster, and we'll put in systems that are going to make sure that it's not an ongoing problem. I know they're having the same kind of problems I had when I got to Lincoln many years ago, with bank reconciliations not being done on time and things getting left behind while, as former Councilman Canoyer would say, the new shiny objects are brought up and put on display for election time. But there's some good management material that needs to be brought into City Hall and get the job done and not have this happen.
All right. Well, we got to take a break, Tim.
no.
But unless there's a
No.
comment or a question.
No, it's okay. No worries.
Well, hang on to
a
it.
shattering comment. I think you should. Yeah.
No, we're sharing comment, but we'll talk. We can talk.
All right. So, Melissa, it's time for a second message, please, from the St. Antoine communities. Then we'll take a quick little break and we'll come back to this.
I'll just briefly mention that we've been busy putting our community events schedule together for 2024, although we're already into April, which is crazy. So we've already had a few community events take place, but as a committee, planning the really big stuff coming up with the summer season ahead of us. And up next is in June on the 21st. We are going to be doing our longest day event again, where last year, if you recall, I talked a little bit on the air about we were selling purple pinwheels for folks to be able to write messages to loved ones who have either suffered unfortunately from the effects of Alzheimer's disease or had at least some kind of direct contact with someone who had Alzheimer's disease. They could write a little personal message, and then we assembled those pinwheels on our property and had a big event, and visually it was just absolutely stunning. We're doing it again, and that's going to be coming up on the 21st of June. So over the next probably couple weeks, I'll even bring some with me here on the air if you're able to stop by WOON and fill one out and make a $5 donation. All proceeds will support the Rhode Island Chapter Alzheimer's Association. If you want more information, you can reach me at 401-767-3500. Thank you.
All right, Melissa, thanks. And the Coffee and program will continue. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
We are local and live at 99.5 FM.
All right, it's Coffee and on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Tim Draper, Melissa Smith, and John Ward. Just talking about Alan Fung's going to be coming in and helping out with the city finances. The story we had, we want to get to your question.
I just wanted to point out and tell me if I'm wrong. This is not a matter of the city's in financial trouble.
No.
This is just.
Well, hold on. Not because of that.
Oh, okay, all right. But it's an organizational and I guess procedure, policy type cleanup.
Well, it was the fact that the former finance director was fired. Prior to that, she's working on enterprise funds. We have a new finance director. A lot of the staff in the finance department has turned over a couple of times in the last 5 years or so. There's a lack of continuity there, and there's a lack of procedural stuff, while at the same time they changed over software.
Right. I just wanted to try to point out that it's not doom and gloom. This is just a procedural.
Not for the procedural problems.
Right.
Those are purely procedural problems that somebody needs to get a grip on some procedures, document them, put them in place, have the staff assigned to do the jobs they're supposed to do, and make sure they get done.
Right.
That's very, very fixable. The tougher fix is going to be the financial problem that does exist. That was part of our meeting Monday night, but Joe was about to transition into.
But just looking at the story we had, it just says, and tell me if this is true or not, it just says the city of Woonsocket's been routinely late in filing their annual audit of its budget.
They have. And frankly, there's a few reasons for that, but and it's never an excuse, but sometimes it happens. I had late years in Lincoln where when they first put in this new financial reporting thing to the state, it was very complicated. It didn't match up with my chart of accounts and how I had to do these giant sheets to transition numbers from this to that. It took time. It was time consuming. So you'd do your report that was due in December and you'd report in January. I think we even had once where we hit beginning of March. Just, it happens. Woonsocket's been September, July. It really gets a little ridiculous. We're doing budgets with no information about the prior year. That never happened to me in Lincoln. We always had an audit done and complete and in the hands of the budget board as they were developing the budget for the next year. So there's not a comparability there. If somebody wants to think that they can point at me and say you were late too, the fact is we never went past a time where we could not provide it to the budget board in preparing a budget. It's been several years since the city council in Woonsocket has had a finished audit to look at. And of course, sometimes we'd have to extract it like bad teeth in getting it out of the administration, even though it was a public record. So yes, it's been really late.
Okay,
Fung needs to get fixed.
Fung also noted, and you mentioned about the city's lacking in a financial staff. Is it up to him to hire the staff?
No, the finance director will be doing that.
Okay.
And she's been working diligently, I'm sure, with the new controller and
to get more
whoever else
staff
the
in.
new staff is, and to fill in any staff positions. And eventually I want to go look at that whole structure in the department and see whether it's actually working in the most effective way possible, or whether they're doing things that are not necessarily in the best interest of expediency. and record keeping and reporting.
Okay. In other news, and there's a lot of local news that came out this morning, and one is the woman in Lincoln that was over at Chase Farm, and you must know where that is, John.
I do. Yes.
Okay, she fell down the embankment. That's over there.
There's several of them, but
Okay. Well, she found the one that was 70 feet, and
Really?
because her dog went down the embankment, so she tried to go rescue the dog, and she fell, and then couldn't get back up. This is where cell phones come in handy now, because she was able to call for help. She did cut her head on the way down. She tumbled on the back of the head, but then in an ironic move, the dog, I guess, sees all the firefighters show up, and the dog scrambles up the embankment all by himself. So she didn't have to go down and get him. The dog made it up on her own, or his own. And anyway, but they had to get pulleys and baskets and things like that
Really?
to get down to get her. And then,
I've never seen that embankment, but
Good
Yeah.
training for those guys.
well, yeah, well, I guess it's pretty steep because she couldn't get up the embankment on her own.
sure she wasn't golfing at Lincoln Country Club.
Pretty sure. So
You can definitely need a basket to get up some of
Okay.
those hills.
well, she's.
There's some embankments on that golf course, I'll tell you.
But she's going to be okay. Or the injury is it's not life threatening or anything like that.
good.
So she'll be okay. But just be careful if you're walking your dog over by Chase Farm.
Yeah,
Well, if they go down the embankment, don't chase
It
after them.
probably is an area in Chase Farm that it does go up and head border. I think it does border Lincoln Golf Club,
In the back.
and there are some pretty
Hills, yeah.
steep hills on that
Alright.
golf course, and a lot of ledge and things. That there would be some steep embankments
All right.
all around.
A man from Cumberland, Tim, 21-year-old Michael Rodriguez. He will be sentenced in July, and it's not just the possession of child pornography; it's the producing
Right.
of child pornography. That
Distribution
I'm
of
like,
it,
oh
yeah.
my gosh, he's
This is-
producing it.
That's,
Cumberland's such
that's
a
a
wild
different
town.
level.
Yeah,
it
it is
So
a different level.
disturbing.
Very, and they said there's pictures on his phone, there's videos on his phone of him doing stuff with the kids. I'm like, wow. So this is pretty bad.
Yeah, he's
And,
going to spend some time.
And a young guy, 21, so he's going to be spending a long time, I think,
Ruin your life.
in the ACI here. He's already pled guilty to all of this, and so he'll be sentenced in July on all these charges.
There's something. There's got to be something mentally wrong there. Just you don't. I don't know.
Well, obviously he recognized it by pleading guilty too, so maybe
Right.
he'll get some help.
Maybe okay.
We're gonna try to spin every positive story.
There you go. Maybe we'll get.
I mean,
Alright.
every story positively today.
right.
That's our goal.
The next one's going to be tough.
Oh
no.
Lord,
Was it because in Uxbridge? Nope, I'm sorry.
Burrville.
Burrville.
I knew where you were going.
Burrville
next.
teenager was
I
found
can't
dead
spin this one. No.
in Stowe, Massachusetts, and they went to this person's house, this guy's house, who didn't want to let the police in.
I know.
Held them off for 2 hours. When they finally get in, they found the 17-year-old. I think she was 17.
17.
Dead there. Now they're gonna have to do an autopsy because they're not quite sure how she died, but
Oh, boy.
she has died. And it's like, wow,
Yeah.
No, did she
mysterious.
go with this person voluntarily? Do they know or?
There wasn't a lot of information in the
Didn't say
story
about
I
that
saw.
part.
Yeah.
It was very vague. It didn't talk about even if she was an active student in the school system or anything like
Nope,
that.
it
Just
talked about a tough upbringing, bouncing around from foster family to foster family. Her grandfather, I think it was her grandfather, spoke with Channel 12 News, how she was a rough upbringing, but she was the light. She lit up the room when she came in, like that. But he didn't point at this guy that they arrested in Stowe of what's going on. But it's very mysterious right
very
now.
strange.
Yeah, it's very odd. And the last one,
It's
this
the
was
Eclipse that did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not that it's funny, but it is kind of amusing. You know, you sit down to take a test when you're in school, and this kid in Uxbridge
Oh, I heard of this.
is taking his MCAS test, and the way they do it is on their Chromebooks. And I can just picture it. You know, teacher, Miss or Mrs. or whatever,
Yeah.
Mr. or whatever, you know, my computer's really hot. Oh, be quiet and take your test.
Right.
Ow! It burnt his. It started to smoke.
And burnt his fingers.
And burnt it.
Oh
And
my
burnt his
gosh, I didn't hear
fingers.
this
There's
story.
actually the battery pack on the computer. If you saw a picture of it, is like melted.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So they, when they finally realized, oh, there is something wrong, they pulled the fire alarm. Okay, everybody had to evacuate the school out of an abundance of caution. That's
just
the
take the Chromebook and throw it out the
Window.
window.
Well, no-
Like, what are we doing?
Well, now that would make too much sense.
Sorry.
well, it was
For
get
the
away
being
from the
the environment,
Chromebook right
right.
now. He had to go to the hospital, do a little. I don't know if he got didn't say if you get first or
They
second
probably
degree
put an
burns
ointment
it.
on his
Yeah,
fingers.
so it's like
Not like
probably
John's
a sunburn.
burns from the fry-a-later
No,
back
no,
in
no,
the...
not like that. But he's at home recovering, according to the story. So now they're telling all the kids that had the Chromebooks to power them off, let it
Let them
cool,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
before you turn them back on. And some representative from the company that sold the Chromebooks is going to come take a look at the one that was caught on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They
see
do get warm, I have to
what's
tell you.
going on with this one.
They're used all day. They go home with them at night. They're on them for homework at night.
Yep.
Like I won't say to the point that my kids have burned their fingers, but I have them on cooling.
I think they're just
Stations
gonna
now.
they're gonna take the battery pack, turn it upside down, look at the label, and see if it says Tesla.
It does not.
I have to share that right now is testing season, and my middle school child's doing the RICAS wrapping. Well, not wrapping those up. It's 2 days for English, and then they take a break. 2 weeks later, they do math, and then 2 weeks later, they do science. But my oldest is taking SATs right now, so a little mini prayer to all those kids because she went down the rabbit hole of stress last night. 9:30 at night, cramming in a few last minute whatevers, and I'm like, what are you doing? Either you got it or you don't.
I
Like,
might be
take
the
a
only guy
breath.
that spent money on a prep course for the SAT math section and did worse this
Ah.
second time.
I love that story.
Totally did.
Oh, I'm
My
gonna
parents
go home
like,
and tell her
you
that.
did what?
You didn't get your money back on that?
No.
They approach it so differently. I mean, I was trying to explain to her, back in our heyday, we had a written portion for English. There were all these, just differences and paper format, whatever. It was a weekend. You had to go into like CCRI classroom.
Saturday morning.
Right? I said, you're doing it in your school day. You're not doing it on your own personal time. It's
Yeah.
on a computer. There's not even anything written. It's all type, but there's
a number
always
2
some,
pencil.
yeah.
Filling in the
Bring a
holes.
couple.
That's
get
right.
it
Bring
sharpened.
two.
I found it interesting. She said, Mom, honestly, I don't like taking tests on the computer. I would rather have something tangible to touch, or even to do a written portion. She's like, I hate multiple choice. I hate how, black and white it is. And she's in the top of her class. She's a very bright kid. But she was going down the rabbit hole last night of, what if I don't do well and it's the end of the world? And I'm like, oh, for the love of God.
Did you tell us some colleges don't even require the SATs
I did.
anymore?
My husband's
But they're
standing there
starting-
with
they're
me.
They are
Coming
coming
back.
back.
Coming back.
We're doing our first college tours next week, and she started doing the whole.
We gotta go.
We're going to
Holy Cross?
Fordham. We're going to
Fordham, wow.
New York, and Fairfield, Yukon, and then swinging
Okay.
over to Holy Cross will be the end of the week. But it became very obvious all of a sudden. SATs and college tours next week, and oh my gosh, I have to work on my senior class decisions by next. Just suddenly she feels like
You're
she's
gonna be
moving out.
Overwhelmed
You're going
all
to
of
be
a sudden.
She's a senior, right?
She's a junior
Oh,
right
she's
now.
a junior, so
Yeah.
she's
So
good
we
time.
got a year
You
of
just-
this.
You won't be a mess.
Yeah.
for
A
her.
year of
They
this.
have a whole year more to fix that FAFSA thing.
Oh
I
yeah.
still have not received
Still a
any
disaster.
Really?
financial aid information from
Isn't that
any of the
crazy?
schools yet.
Oh,
It's
man.
April 10th, and they all want decisions by May 1st, and we've received nothing.
I'm so sorry.
So after the next break, I'm going to have to break in because we had a meeting Monday night,
Oh.
and I would be remiss if I did not put people on notice of what's coming at us.
Okay, that's good. That's a good tease right there, John. So we will take a break right now, and it's time for the forecast, which is being brought to us by True Green. Today, mostly cloudy, isolated showers after 3 p.m. High will be near 58. Southeast wind 6 to 11 miles per hour. Winds could gust as high as 21 miles per hour. Tonight, cloudy skies, chance of drizzle throughout the night, and areas of fog after 9 p.m. Low temperature tonight around 46. Thursday's weather, cloudy, chance of rain or light rain. We'll have calm winds becoming southeast 5 to 8 miles per hour. High Thursday will be near 57. Thursday night, cloudy skies, rain is likely. Low temperature around 54. Friday's weather, cloudy skies, showers and possibly a thunderstorm in the morning. Showers in the afternoon as well. High near 63. It'll be windy on Friday. South wind 15 to 21 miles per hour. Wind gust as high as 36 miles per hour. Saturday, mostly cloudy. High near 54. Continued windy on Saturday. Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we do have sunny skies and 52 degrees. If you want a great-looking lawn, contact True Green today. All you have to do is water and mow. Sign up by April 20th to get one application free with an annual plan. Restrictions apply.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
For home-style cooked meals, you'll always be happy you decided to stop into Missy's Family Restaurant. They're open 7 days a week at 7 a.m. Breakfast is served all day. Great food, tasty food, with large portions is what you'll find at Missy's Family Restaurant. From juicy burgers and crispy fries to satisfying pasta dishes and fresh seafood. Bring your loved ones, enjoy a meal that will leave you feeling happy and satisfied. Missy's Family Restaurant, 801 Clinton Street, Woonsocket. Come on down and taste the difference. Coffee and on ONAM and FM. Thanks for joining us this morning. This is Joe Callahan here with John Ward, Melissa Smith, and Tim Draper. And Tim, time for your first message from Navigant Credit Union.
This is going to be a quick one. Members are starting to receive text messages that did not originate from Navigant Credit Union. If you're
Melissa got one.
really,
I did.
we'll have to see that one. If you are unsure, do not click on the link and call us to verify that it is either us or not. We're not going to send any text messages unless you've opted in for that service.
Yeah.
But even then, we're not generally going to send you text messages about accounting accounts or anything like that. So that's number one. Again, don't answer any text messages from Navigant. Secondly, our locations today, all of them, all 25 of them, are going to close at 4 because tonight is our annual employee meeting, which is basically our employee annual meeting where we go in and tell everybody what the credit union's up to and how we're doing and what the future plan is for the year, lay out the strategic roadmap, have some raffles, have some dinner, have a lot of fun. So we're giving our employees a chance to get together and bond, and so
Where
we're
you
going to
having
close
this?
up at 4. Rhodes in the Patuxent.
Ah,
Nice.
all right.
Nice
The
weekend,
theme this year is the Kentucky Derby.
I always
So
look forward to seeing your pictures from your theme
Well,
events.
I don't know
They're-
if you
they're
saw
fantastic.
the seersucker suit that I have in my car that I'll be wearing
Stop
tonight
it.
with my hat
I think we should get a preview.
and my salmon
think we
color
should get a
pants
preview.
and my horsey socks. See?
And where did you order that from? Amazon? Just wondering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's actually
Everything.
Nautica, so
Mint juleps for everybody?
there'll be a virgin mint julep drink that will be at the Rhodes that people can partake of. Everybody's got a mint julep glass.
All right, great.
Oh yeah, you're encouraged to come in your best derby attire.
Derby,
So we'll
so-
see.
Hats
Who
for
puts
the
together
ladies.
The theme events for you guys because they do a fabulous
Kelly,
job.
She
Amazing.
Kelly works for me. She's been doing it for 20 years, and she does
She
an
probably loves
unbelievable
it.
job.
It's a lot of stress.
It's a
to do
lot of
big
stress,
event.
and she is right here at stress level.
Yep.
So yeah, but I think after tomorrow she'll be just fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Not the Masters.
Not the Masters. Not
do that
this
next,
year.
next
That
year.
would have been
There's
a
always
good theme.
another year.
All right, John, the Woonsocket City Council had a work session. Was it a work session?
It was a
On
special
Monday?
meeting. Yes.
Special meeting,
We don't
okay.
call them work sessions anymore. We call them special meetings.
But it was closed to the public.
But it was work. It was supposed
Part
to
of
be
it was.
closed and open, but
Yeah.
it took us so long to get through the closed session. By the time we went to open it, all the administration was leaving, and
No
the
was
people
there.
that were waiting for us to have an open meeting had gone home.
Okay.
So I'm sure we'll get yelled at our next meeting for having done that. To
All
them.
right. But what's the you
but-
teased a little something? What's coming up?
Well, it's just that, we've talked about how tax assessed values are being appealed, and there's a lot of litigation going on, and how the former assessor and the former mayor, I think it's something that I'm learning all too often is just a terrible way to do business, is how mayors have a tendency to target people sometimes, and even a fellow at the other station pointed out that his value was changed by a mayor on his house without any apparent justification, just because he had done something that upset her. And it's become clear that you can manipulate the level of tax rate increase so that homeowners can get a break because you bury commercial properties in high values. And so when the tax bills go out, they end up appealing. Well, since 2017 and 18, there's been a lot of appeals, that some of them which have been settled, for which we're going to have to fold in $500,000 of not receiving revenue or credits in next year's budget already, and we have millions more of values that on tax risk that will affect next year's budget and the year after and the year after and the year after. And frankly, it's because from everything we can understand, there's very little documentation to substantiate it, is after the revaluation done was in 2017, values were changed or manipulated or moved and shifted. And then the tangible taxes, which are self-reporting and are not part of revaluation, lots of them just were increased beyond reason for the big corporations. And so they appeal, and we're finally getting to the point now where we're trying to wrap those things up and conclude them, and the new tax assessor is doing great work. But it represents millions of dollars of basically what is, to my mind, corruption. Because the mayor's interfering with the tax assessor doing the job. We had a new tax assessor that came in that I've spoken with and had email communications with, where she spelled out all of the different issues. One of which involved Navigant and tangible taxes here at Park Square, where they were taxing them on something that's non-taxable, and it's in the law. And when it was pointed out to the mayor and the finance director, they said, we're not going to put the abatement on. I don't even want to tell you what I heard about the conversation in the background. But the fact was, they were simply taxing people for things that they had no basis in fact. And it was to keep the residential homeowner, or what I call the quote-unquote voter, happy. And it's artificial, and it's phony, and someday the bill comes due. And in this case, it's coming due now because the former mayor resigned, and we are left picking up the rubble after the disaster, or as the disaster occurs in the next. And I'm volunteering for the job as mayor. We have to fix this, and we're fixing it now. But it's going to affect this next year budget coming up, and probably a few years after that. And it's very expensive. And I'll just point to the fact that when I was meeting with the council, I pointed out to them that in 1990 something, I didn't know at the time, but I looked it up, and it was 1996. We actually had to do a bond issue for revaluation settlement because I hate to bring up the family name, but Mayor Baldelli back in the 80s had done a revaluation where they loaded value on the commercial properties so that the homeowners could get a deal and do their voting. And then the commercial properties appealed. They take you to court when they lose the appeals locally. They take you to court, and then eventually they're about to win, but the court wants you to settle. And when you go to settle, you got to pay out money. And back then it was, in 1996, it was $3,600,000 and some thousand that was bonded for 15 years to spread the burden out over 15 years at 5% interest, 5 point something. It shouldn't happen, and it should not be something we ever have to choose to do. But it's because they never sat down and did like so many other communities do who do it right, where you get the revaluation numbers, and instead of then playing with them to make it politically satisfying or pandering to voters, you do what's right. You balance things out. You find out what it is that everything represents. If your commercial properties are diminishing in quantity, you hope your residential's picking up. You look for development, and you balance it out, and you do what's right for everybody. And yes, sometimes it's hard, and you take a political hit, but it usually doesn't get you thrown out of office if you're honest with people. This last administration was simply not honest with people, you know, and I know people get frustrated with the fact that we threw her out of office, and then she had to resign, and she got all of these things hanging over her head that are still hanging over her head. And this is another one of those issues where a politician spends years setting up this system of getting votes with, I referred to earlier, all these press conferences and shiny new objects, and oh, I'm going to do this, and oh, I'm going to do that. And in the meanwhile, the foundation of the house is crumbling. And that's what this was. She was letting the foundation of the house crumble, putting us at risk, thinking like so many politicians. Buddy Cianci is a classic example. Oh, I'm not going to be there when it hits the fan. Mm-hmm. Well, she's not there, and it's hit the fan because we're forcing it to hit the fan before some judge says, pay them $6 million, pay them $3 million. And it's measured in millions of dollars, and it should never have happened. And unfortunately, popular mayors often get away with things that normal business operations would never allow to happen. And there's much more accountability. And this last administration was so secretive, and they were so sleazy about how they would simply block out the council and block out any discussion or information going out. And frankly, I've always tried to be civil about it, but at some level I start getting frustrated beyond, like I did the other day, slamming the table.
Well, I can hear it in your voice
just,
now.
You can't excuse this. It's not acceptable, but it happens all the time. And I'm trying to figure out how to write charter language to suggest that we vote on, or ordinances that will prevent this from happening. And, you know, one of the simplest ways is that you just demand that a mayor communicate with the council. I mean, we're about to put a community center that in their proposal had opioid treatments at the athletic complex because the mayor applied for it, got it under these conditions at Cass Park and only at Cass Park. And now the state's saying it can only be at Cass Park. And it's like, but it doesn't belong there.
No.
But that's where they're going to give us the money for. And I'm going to be challenging the mayor to speak with the governor's office and ask about whether we can separate that so we can have our clubhouse at the field where it belongs and put the community center somewhere else, because it just doesn't make sense to do all these social services and bring all these people with issues and problems to
Where
an
the kids are
athletic
gonna
center
be.
where the kids are all the time.
Yeah.
It's irrational, but that's what she did because she was going to leverage the $5.4 million to overcome the shortfall she had in trying to finance Cass Park.
Where would you like the community center to go?
Well,
then?
as it turns out, part of the other discussion that we're going to be having is over this mortgage now. That's a 15-year tie-in for this food hub that was supposed to go on a building on Social Street that we bought. That looks like it's going to go up in flames because this 15-year commitment, and somebody else gets to have to approve all of our tenants, and the city becomes a landlord, and we have to do business development. That's not what government does. That's what business does. You know, I'd be happy to talk with nonprofits about using a building for a food co-op or something like happens in so many other communities. But in this case, we're going to have a building that probably won't have a project for. We're going to have to walk away from $3.1 million because it makes no sense. And that building may be available. And my point is, why can't we take the social service aspects of this build, $5.4 million, move it to that building? We could do a lot with $5.4 million in that location to provide those counseling services and those other social services associated with it, and still leave enough money for a community center that's the clubhouse and some educational enhancement facility at the athletic complex. So you could do both with $5.4 million, actually. But if you close your mind to it and say, well, the state told us this, and you don't want to talk about maybe bumping up against the system and asking if we could simply be a little bit more imaginative than this, instead of taking the former mayor's secretive applying for grants, not telling the council, not having any conversation with anybody, and getting it all approved and locked into Cass Park. If you want to do that, fine. But that's not what's necessarily in the best interest in the city, and you never bothered to ask anybody what their thoughts were about it. It's just such bad government, and I don't know why she was reelected so often, just running the place this way. But too often people were blinded to it. They didn't see it happening. And we try to expose it and bring it out. We write for ordinances and fight with her. I mean, I forget how many vetoes we had from her. It was like over 20 in her terms, and it's never happened before.
Yeah.
But it was just, I'm sorry, she was a bad mayor. She didn't do a good job. She did a bad job. She did a lot of PR that made her look good, but it was a bad fundamental job.
All right. We're going to take a break right now. So, Tim, it's time for a second message from Navigant Credit Union.
So, Joe, it's that time of the year again where you're thinking about potentially buying a house, changing the house that you're in, upgrading with some. Actually, you know what's interesting? We've learned that a lot of folks out there we have lines of credit and home equity loans to do repairs and stuff to your house. We always like to say use the line of credit because it's the flexibility of it. You write a check off the line of credit, pay the bill. You know, if you have another project or you're going over budget or whatever, you've got that flexibility in there. But a lot of people are choosing the home equity loan, which is a little different. It's a fixed term, fixed rate, fixed payment, and you know it's secured the same way by the equity in your house, but it's a little more of a predictable future payment, and so people are really knowing the interest rates are kind of weird the way they are choosing that model to do home improvement. So we've got those loans if anybody's looking to do that. But again, in terms of mortgage lending, we have your traditional fixed and variable rate mortgages. And as we tell everybody, if you're buying a house now, don't be afraid to buy the house. The rate is always going to be temporary, and it will always fluctuate. So if you feel like you've got that piece of property that you want, you should definitely go out and try to do it. But before you do that, you might want to find out how much money you can afford. So come in and talk to one of our mortgage originators and get a pre-approval letter. Then we have first-time home buyers. So if you're actually looking at a house for the very first time and you're thinking about getting into real estate and you found the home that you love, come and see us and we'll put you into our first-time home buyer program. We have a New Beginnings mortgage, which is somebody who's had some financial challenges in the past. This is an opportunity to break out of those and get financed for a mortgage. And then our VA loans and FHA loans and all the other types of loans that we have as well. So we want you to think of Navigant Crediting as your one-stop shop for all your mortgage lending needs and equity needs. And if you can call us at 233-4700 or visit us at navigantcu.org.
All right, there, Tim. Thanks. More Coffee and coming your way. Please stay tuned. One of our gold medal winners in the best of the Blackstone Valley is Marshan Environmental of Blackstone. They won gold in the category of septic service. They also won silver in the junk removal dumpsters category. For information, visit marshanenvironmental.com, one of the best of the Blackstone Valley.
The St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center presents the 14th annual Breakfast with the Saints on Sunday, April 28th from 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Enjoy a delicious breakfast buffet under the magnificent frescoes of the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center. Tickets are $20 in advance or $25 at the door and are available at Beatles Flowers, Creative Impressions, The Honey Shop, Timeless Antiques, Vos True Value Hardware. Visit the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center website, or to reserve a table, call 401-486-9380.
All right, it's Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan with Tim Draper, Melissa Smith, and John Ward. We did have a note that was called in, 766-1240. And I guess this comment, John, is going towards you on the comments you just made about what's going on here in the city. And this person says, what the city council's looking for is a mayor that they can puppet and manipulate. Not the mayor manipulating the city council, other way around. So
That's ridiculous.
With the laughter, I say you're against that.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
We want a mayor who will communicate and provide information that's helpful and meaningful and part of the decision making process. Make the council part of the decision making process and inform us before things are done that commit the city to things that we are simply not able to change because it's too late. And as far as, the mayor got her group of people elected. People would refer to them as puppets for the mayor because she did it twice in 2013 and now in 2020. But the fact is, how did that work out for the mayor trying to manipulate or control the council? It didn't take long before they were hit with the reality of, wait a minute, I'm on the council, she's not telling me anything, and all of a sudden I'm not part of the process. Didn't take long. I said it when the election happened, and I think we talked about it here, about you're the only guy there, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to wait for them to come around to me. Not because they're coming around to me, but because she's turning them into enemies and not informing them and keeping secrets from them and selling land, buying land on Menden Road without anybody knowing. It's that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah, we got to get to the end of that, and that'll be coming up probably in about a month or so. Yeah, I don't want to manipulate anybody. I just want to be part of the conversation. The former mayor talked about when she was thrown out of office how we took the vote away from the people, their representative, because she was voted in by the people of the city. You know what? So are we. We're all at large. The same people that voted for her were the funds. Many of the same people who voted for her voted for me. They voted for other people. They voted for Jim Canoia. They voted for Dan Gendron. They voted for Dries Sierra. They voted for all the people that are on the council now. So we represent the people too. They're our constituents, and those constituents, I believe, expect all of us to work together, not to keep secrets from one another. The council doesn't administer the city, so we can't initiate programs. The mayor does. It's the mayor's job to bring in the council for not just being the council, but being someone that they will counsel with, S-E-L. We're part of counseling. to discuss issues. And so I'm sorry if this person feels like I'm trying to take control of something. Not at all the case. I'm actually advocating for council participation when I'm not intending to be on the council anymore. I'm looking to be the mayor, and I don't want to be the person pulling the strings from the council. I want to work with people who think independently, have different points of view, and are going to bring something to the table so that we can all come to a conclusion.
All right, very good there, John. I want to bring up this next subject because Tim always talks about the scams, and someone got caught this time around, Tim, and did a little time in jail. And it's a Maryland man sentenced to time served. I want to know, do you think he should have got more than what he got? He was sentenced to time served for making extortion threats against victims in a romantic scam. And what he did, prosecutors say Brandon Kane used online dating websites to meet victims in eastern Massachusetts. And then he'd come up here, meet with them, and be all charming and wonderful and blah. And then, okay. But then he recorded them doing illegal drug use and sexual activity. And then he extorts them. That's
And he's
the
get
scam.
time served for
He
that?
then threatened to share the images with the families of two victims if they did not pay him. And they did. They paid him a total of $4,000.
Yeah, well,
So he spent 5 months in jail while awaiting trial. And then the judge deemed that that was enough.
no,
So you think
not enough.
it should be more?
Because 5 months,
Yeah.
it's already done.
And he's already out.
served it. Now he's
Yeah.
already out doing it again, probably. Just figuring out a way to try to do it better and smarter than the way he did it before,
And not get
it's
caught.
insane. Those kind of sentences are just. Now this is a personal opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Those kind of sentences are just absolutely a joke. They're not going to change anybody's mind. And to be honest with you, the people who do that stuff anyway, they're hard to rehabilitate. I think.
Okay.
In my mind. I
'Cause-
mean, I hope they can.
Because it's probably worked
But
before that he got caught
right,
this time.
Right, and it's an easy way to make money.
Yeah.
Right, they just have to be lousy human beings, and that's what they are.
All right.
So I think they should have actually served time. This time served junk about 5 months is not enough.
Okay.
A couple years, I think that's well worth it.
All right. Melissa, you feel the same way, or?
So you said he got $4,000 from a family.
Well, it looks like he got 4,000 as a combination from two different victims. So
I think it's less about the money, more about the game. There's a psychological piece for him. What's $4,000 these
Well,
days?
it's not a lot,
right?
so, yeah.
For exploiting someone, I feel like, I mean, this is all bad stuff. So don't think I'm even judging that amount of money. There's no amount of money, but it's about more of a game and a psychological power in this equation, which I think he seems like he could use some rehabilitation in jail. Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
well-
lump him into the same category of the conversation we had earlier. about-
unfortunately, he's not. He's already served this time. So
He'll be
now
caught again.
He's out.
Because now hopefully they'll be watching him,
Yeah. Okay.
but who knows?
Well, probably just set up a different account name on the dating website and start over.
Let's see what this guy. We need pictures. We need
I
to know
don't-
what these people.
Well, see,
Don't
that's
have
that's
it.
why we keep doing the seminars that we're doing, and
Yeah.
that is, listen, this is an exploitation issue. You're going to get these kind of phone calls, and if you're lonely and you're older and you're isolated from people, you're going to be highly susceptible
Yeah.
to somebody making these romantic gestures towards you, and you're going to want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I just think you have to be suspicious at all times of somebody you've never met before, out of the blue.
And can I just add what you're talking about with be suspicious? Lifetime and Hallmark have tons of these kinds of movies, right? But the guy is always good looking, or the girl
Of
is always
course.
beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Because they've had both roles played even direction.
None of them titled Primrose Lane.
But stay tuned, June 2025. If you missed the earlier part of the show, Primrose Lane's not actually opening in June 2025. The show about the residents living within,
Primrose
right?
Lane.
Yeah. I just want to clarify.
fictional show.
But the reason I made the comment about, where is his picture? What does he look like? Because I think it's important to point out they're not all just going to be these good-looking, charismatic type suave individuals. They're average Joes. They could be a Joe Callahan
They could
behind the
be.
picture.
Average Joe Callahan. Can you imagine Joe?
We're on to you, Joe.
And keep it quiet, will you?
We saw that new car you were driving.
For $4,000. All right. So another story. I don't know if you heard about it. The Satanic Temple in Salem, Massachusetts. Someone threw a bomb on their. This happened over the weekend. An explosive device detonated at 4 a.m. on Monday morning at the Satanic Temple in Salem. Now it's being investigated by the FBI. on a joint terrorism task force. FBI officials say the device was thrown onto the porch of the building at 4 a.m. on Monday. The building was unoccupied at the time, so there were no injuries. A spokesperson for the Satanic Temple, Lucian Greaves, says the device scorched the front of the house and caused minor damage. And
He didn't say God would punish them, right?
no, he would not.
Classified as a hate crime.
Now it's a hate crime, is what it is. And I don't know if the person was just trying to scare the Satanic Temple into leaving town,
Right.
or if they were really trying to bring down the building, and maybe then they would leave town. But you just can't do it
Isn't
like
Satanism
that.
like it's a legitimate religion?
It
It's
is.
not
It's a recognized religion, so you cannot throw bombs at the building. It's just
Right.
not a good thing to do. Even though you might not agree with their teachings, and you probably don't,
Right.
but you can't throw bombs
Can't be
at
throwing
them.
bombs.
It's going to wake up the neighbors at 4 in the morning.
Let's be clear. You can't throw bombs at buildings.
Well, you can't
in
throw bombs at
general.
buildings. That's right. You're right about that.
In general.
Yes, that would be a bad thing.
So true.
And Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Trevor Story has got Chris Sale disease.
Yep.
Took him 3 games
And
to
he's
be
out.
knocked out of for the season. Now we know he fell on his arm. It fell on his shoulder, and it was a pretty nasty injury.
Wasn't
But he
he
dislocated his shoulder. It requires surgery. 6 months rehab after that. That puts us right into October. Oh, we'll see you next year.
Right. Isn't this the same thing happened to him last year?
Yeah, you get yeah.
Every,
I don't know.
every
I don't know
year.
if it's the exact same injury, but
No, but
something happened
he's
last
injured
year.
most of last year,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. Oh, just awful. We just can't seem to catch a break anymore.
Cut him loose. See you later. Thanks. Bye.
Right? Do we cut the owner loose too? Because I really feel like that's part of
I don't know
this
why
problem.
Navigant has not stepped up to buy the team.
Big announcement coming.
Well, that's going to happen at Rose of
It's
the
an employee
Patuxent.
meeting tonight.
Work on that.
Yeah, let me get right on it.
That would be great, by the way. Authorities in Oakland County, this is in Michigan, say a man there is being held after allegedly stealing $18,000 worth of trading cards. Baseball cards and like that. $18,000 worth. Police arrested Daniel Jackson after he left a store last week. A large amount of trading cards were found in the suspect's car, and officials say the thefts occurred at several stores in the area. He was arraigned in court and being held on $10,000 bond. Think you're
Wow.
going to find
Still
a
have that much value, huh?
if you pick
He
up a
doesn't know
rookie
you're supposed to
card
steal
of
in
somebody.
California these days.
That's nothing in California.
Well,
No,
that's
you'd get away with it there.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody would
Trading
want to
cards.
prosecute them.
$18,000.
Makes you wonder.
that's a lot of cards when you're selling it. Well, how much are these things? $1.50 a piece with the hard chewing gum in the
Oh,
thing
those are the best.
that snaps
Any
in
kind
half.
of that,
That's
like
a lot of bubble gum.
That's a lot
that
of
is.
them.
Any of that kind
I
of
don't even-
sports
I don't even-
memorabilia stuff, like even antiques and stuff, I just wonder as this younger generation comes through, they just don't have sentimental attachment, myself included. I really don't hold much weight with sentimental hand-me-downs or anything anymore. I just wonder if all of the value of those things at some point will shift and change. I mean, I'm surprised there's even still trading going on and of this value of this.
There are
amount.
card shows mostly all winter long.
I
and they're
know, but do
packed
you
with
see
people.
young kids going to them? That's what I'm wondering.
Sometimes the older crowd brings their grandkids with them to try to get them interested
Yeah.
in this hobby.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're picking it up, I
Not many
don't
stamp
know.
collectors anymore out there.
No, that's kind of going by the wayside too, hasn't it?
Yeah,
So-
I just feel like even if you're a
I
like
collect
an
email
HGTV watcher, they take away all of that personalization in a home that used to exist, like in our grandparents' homes. You know,
Yeah.
spoon collection, teacup collections on these shelves.
Oh, yeah.
You watch these shows and everything is sterile and they wipe everything out. I mean, kind of victim of it in my own house, but you don't keep things anymore. Like there's no,
They're
you know,
minimalists.
We could have stainless steel.
minimalist, you know.
All right. Well, we've gotten to the end of the program. We thank you for listening in.
Unless
as
you have
always.
a basement full of stuff. I'm looking at John. He's like disagreeing with the face he's giving.
No,
but...
I'm not a collector of stuff.
Okay, right. Okay, I thought maybe you were a hoarder. That there was a basement full of stuff and
No,
antiques and collectibles. But
You know, I love the line from Gladiator where where he's going out to fight on first gladiatorial fight, and the guy says to him as he's heading up there, he says, "In the end, we're all just shadows and dust."
There you go. All right. Thanks for listening in. Tim Draper, thanks for coming in.
Joe, thanks for having me.
All right. And Melissa Smith, thanks for coming in.
thank you. Have a good week, everybody.
And John Moore.
And everybody go out there. It's a beautiful day out. Spring has finally arrived, I think, and enjoy the God-given day. while I go to the dentist.
All
But it's
right.
not painful work being done.
We'll see.
Let's all go to our doctor.
Let me know if you need me.
All right, this
Let
is
me know
Joe
if you need
Callahan.
me.
Have a great day, everyone. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do your remembers at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
A story on Channel 12's website, WPRI.com. A veteran Woonsocket lawmaker announced Tuesday he will not seek